Okay, Beyond the Gates fans, episode 13. Here we go. I would say this is a pretty solid episode. Probably one of the lower scores. Wait, what did I score episode 1? Did I give that one like a 7? I'm going to give this one a 7, and no, this has nothing to do with the absence of Danny. I think this was a decent enough episode to kind of give more lore and backstory to some of the lower tier characters, such as, Doug. And I really think that one of my favorite aspects of this episode was the actual introduction of Samantha and Tyrell, who are the two adopted children of Smitty and Martin. I know some people on Twitter are like, oh, it's about time they showed up. Folks, this is only the third week. There's only so much you can do per episode. And yeah, I do like we are, exploring the background. Look, let me just say up front, if my voice doesn't sound as healthy / strong as usual, it's due to the fact that I was yelling and screaming and doing a whole bunch during the live stream I conducted for the Sisters season finale. And if you are aware of a certain character who returned and then got shot and killed, then you know why I would be upset. Honestly, I think it would be smart of me not to record this video and just give myself a day off vocally, because, oh man, I don't know how I'm going to make it through this video, but I will. And episode 14, I'll just wait until Friday to do that. But good grief, my voice is shot all the heck. But I will power on through and see where we go. And if it sounds like I'm, sleepy or lower octave, it's because I am tired, but I couldn't sleep because that Sisters episode got me so worked up. So if you like the voice for this video, don't expect it for every single one of them. It's a product of my grief and trauma of witnessing a particular character get gunned down after I've waited years for her to finally come back. So with that being said, let's dive in. Oh, please make sure you like and subscribe. Follow me on social media. Links are in the description. And hit the bell icon and select all. That way you don't miss out whenever I post content on the channel. Okay, so we are getting closer to the big event of Nicole's award ceremony night. And she is just simply blown away by Eva's professional demeanor. The fact that she is eager not to please, but to be of service. And just going above and beyond for the cause. And the main thing about this episode is that, initially I'm like, yeah, I bet Eva's going to change her tune about Ted, due to the fact that they will get to know each other as she works for Nicole. Basically canceling out all the negative things that Leslie has spoon-fed her or force-fed her entire life about her dad, who pretty much abandoned them. But to go so far as to have Nicole just be a positive influence is just insane. I love it though, because you can't expect to... I'm surprised that Leslie even agreed to put Eva in this scheme. I mean, yeah, you could manipulate your daughter to feel some kind of way about Ted, but keep in mind that she never met the man. Unlike you, who was probably like a one-night fling or whatever, aka an affair, but you felt so out of sorts about it that you wanted revenge. But when you look at the episode, you could definitely tell that Ted and Nicole, through just their brief interactions with Eva, have been far more positive influence on her life than her own mother has, because her own mom spent her entire life villainizing her father, which I think is pretty sad, but it is accurate to what happens a lot in real world, specifically with, single moms, feeding all sorts of negative things about the baby's father to the baby as they're, growing up, and that leads to a lot of dysfunction. Now, I'm not trying to, throw out statistics and numbers because I don't know them off the top of my head, but I have an older cousin who went through a similar scenario. Daughter is a dead ringer for him. Yet the mom has convinced the girl that he's not her father, despite the fact that he paid child support, still helps take care of her to this day. And she's, got a kid of her own, which I think is just insane and despicable of anybody to do that, a dad or a mom to the other parent. But whatever the case may be, as the episode goes on, she's helping with Nicole with the speech. And, Eva is very clever in her dialogue, trying to unearth certain things like, so, why don't you talk about your parents? It's like, yeah, another, another speech for the great Vernon and Anita Dupree. Okay, well, how about talk about your, I don't know, what about the hard times? Any kind of hardships you went through that might be inspiration for others? And she does mention how Ted and her have had a few rough patches here and there. And the thing about Ted is one thing he despises is a liar. And regardless, he'll go to hell and high water for his family and loved ones. So that makes me wonder, what kind of rough patches did these two have in the past? And with Nicole bringing up Ted, having this thing regarding a thing against liars, I wonder, and this is just, I don't know, but I wonder if Ted had that affair with Dana/Leslie. I wonder if he had that affair because he was angry at Nicole for lying to him about something. Now, I don't know if this necessarily means that Nicole cheated on Ted first and then his response was to cheat as well, or if they were just, again, going through some sort of rough patch. I don't know. I have no idea. But like I said, that's why I like how the show, we are only in the middle of week 3, yet there's so much to, talk about. It's just really crazy to see that we are slowly but surely getting bits and pieces of these storylines. So while people immediately turned on Ted for knowing Leslie and having an affair, now we possibly have a reason for that in terms of, well, maybe Nicole did something and that's why he did what he did. I'm not really trying to defend it, but in situations that are delicate like this, it's good to kind of see all sides of it before coming to a conclusion. So just kudos to the writers on that. And as they're working through the speech, Andre comes up to talk with his aunt about, a meeting they had scheduled regarding the footage and pictures that will be taking place at the award ceremony. And Eva, is yet again going above and beyond to help out Nicole, and she appreciates it. And it's funny because in the midst of working with Nicole, she ignores a couple of phone calls from her mom, who eventually does call her back. And after Andre and Nicole leave, sorry, my voice. After they leave, she gets on the phone and just says, "Hey, Leslie, not to call me, when I'm at work. Oh, no, I'm just eager to see if everything's going well for the day. And I can't wait for you to call me mom, everywhere, not just in these apartment walls." So it's like, yeah, I'll give you a recap as soon as I get home. So as soon as she does get home, they have an interesting conversation because Leslie is just a bit surprised by the fact that Eva is just gushing about the fact that working with Nicole is wonderful. I'm learning so many new things. I'm getting, so many, just compliments and whatnot from her. So she gets a bit wary because at first Leslie is like, "Hey, let's this award ceremony coming up. You're talking about how the local news and everyone will be there. This will be the perfect time to expose that family." And she's like, "Wait a minute, now Nicole didn't do anything. If we want to get Ted, we'll get Ted. But Nicole, this is her night, and not to mention I'm putting a lot of work into it. Are you going soft on me?" And then she pulls out a straw. Like, "If I was soft, how about this?" And it's a straw that Ted used, I think, in the last episode when he came into the office for a drink. And this will be used to get a DNA test to prove that Eva is his daughter. And while Leslie wants to do it at the ceremony, expose him there, Eva's again like, "Hey, DNA tests will take a little while, right? So it's not like we can do it on the night of the ceremony. So we'll get him just another time." And then as soon as Eva steps out, that's when Leslie gets on the phone to call somebody up saying, "Hey, I could use your help." This could be someone she knows to get some sort of like fast track DNA test because, obviously if she does that at the ceremony by exposing Ted for having an affair, he's going to deny it. But with him not knowing about Eva, the DNA test could be used against him, which again makes no sense for why at the beginning of the series, Leslie was trying to say, remember, we saw him at the hospital. He just looked right through us. Yeah, because he had no idea, Eva, in terms of who she was and the fact that she existed. Good old water. Okay, so aside from that, we go over to Andre at the hospital, who is creepily getting photos of Ashley, who catches him, but he goes over there to chat with her real quick. So apparently he's been taking several photos of her. What's it called? Candid shots, where she didn't know he was taking photos, but he put together like a little collage, which included a photo of, I forgot the woman's name. The woman who had the baby in the elevator and they helped out, and she was so taken aback by it. But, a call comes in about a patient, and it turns out that it's Derek. He was injured on the job, saving people from a building that was on fire, and he got, trapped under a ceiling that fell. So Ashley rushes to his side, and as she's freaking out because he went into surgery and whatnot, Andre calms her down about saying, like, look, as somebody who dealt with a situation like this, try to keep, hope, because Derek is still here with us. So, until the doctors say otherwise, just, relax. And, that's pretty cool. I love to see that. Now, I'm not personally rooting for these two because Andre, had he not gotten involved with Danny, I think I would be like, yeah, it would be cool for him and Ashley to maybe hook up sometime, somewhere down the line. That way he'll stop being a player, playboy, whatever you want to call it. But the fact that like Ted and Nicole and Kat says like, Ashley doesn't really seem like your woman of the world type. I mean, she's a wholesome girl. So, I mean, it would be messed up if Andre came in and screwed up her relationship with Derek just for the sake of, I've always had a crush on her. But all the while you're messing around with Danny and who knows how many other women. So why mess up her relationship for no reason? And also on Twitter, I see a lot of people saying, oh, they're boring, Ashley and Derek. I don't really have a problem with it. I think they are, what's the word I'm looking for here? They're kind of like the realistic couple. Yeah, they might come across as boring, but boring is kind of cool. Sometimes you need a couple like that to kind of level out the drama. It's like, hey, look at this, and this is no pun because they're white, but look at this white bread all-American couple right here versus a couple who is just full of nonstop drama. So, and it's funny because, like I said, it's kind of interesting because similar to Andre, Ashley reminds me of a girl who I had feelings for in college, and we were close, but I don't know, we just kind of fell apart, and it's sad because, and I'm not trying to make this about me, all right, but it's just like, we knew each other in college, and she left after 1.5 years to go back to North Carolina to go to school to finish up her, medical school stuff, and then she moved to Roanoke, which is an hour from where I live, but, when I was in Lynchburg. But she came over one time. We spent a weekend together. It was great. But after that, I don't know what happened. She just stopped talking. So it's sad. But it really hurts because, we kept in contact even after she left college. So I was there for her emotionally as she was making the transition from finishing med school, leaving North Carolina, moving to Roanoke by herself, starting her job. So, yeah, seeing Ashley and Andre together, it really does remind me of that girl. But yeah, she's in a relationship, so Andre, chill out. But the thing is, he has a concussion. Derek has a concussion, and he can't remember, much of anything. Every time Ashley tells him something and he repeats it, next sentence he forgets. But it was sweet how it's like, I can't even remember your name. It's like, no, don't help me, I'll remember. But then he gets kissed by her, and then he remembers. So, he might be out of commission for a few episodes. Well, at least restricted to the hospital bed. So from there, we go over to the country club. Now, Vanessa is coming out. I think she just got to the country club for a workout. And she and Diego exchange glances. And out of nowhere, Doug shows up. And she's taken aback. So it's interesting because he is just the opposite of how he usually is to her. I mean, we've only seen these two interact, what, like one time? And that was like the wedding. Yeah, the wedding. But yeah, we know that he isn't super busy like he says. He's just off gambling. But yeah, he's being attentive, he's being romantic, and Vanessa's just caught off guard by it. So while they're having a conversation, her phone goes off and she's ignoring it, and his phone goes off and he's ignoring it. Now, obviously, we know it's Randy texting him about the casino, and then she's probably getting texted by Diego. But she's excited because what did she say? I sold 4 multi-million-dollar homes in the past month, and that's going to be a huge commission. And he apologizes for not really putting their marriage first. Being there, being busy working on patients. Obviously, he's not, but basically, he hasn't been the most present husband, and he's looking to change that. And she likes this new him, but obviously, we kind of know that Doug, being the kind of husband that she probably hoped he would have been for a long time now, is going to interfere with her, let's say, extracurricular activities, aka the hot guys at the country club and whoever else she wants to, have fun with. So after Doug leaves, we actually get a little exchange of Diego stepping up to Vanessa because she's flirting with one of the other workout instructors, who Diego tells to buzz off, which I'm kind of surprised the dude did. I mean, bro was taller and bulkier than Diego, but whatever. Must be a code. So in any case, Vanessa, gets upset and slaps Diego for being controlling. And it's like, look, I have fun with whoever I want, whenever I want. And if I find something better, so be it. So basically, she doesn't want any commitment, but Diego looks like the kind of guy who doesn't necessarily want to take no for an answer. So I have no doubt that the friction between these two will continue as the series goes on. Now, I believe there are two other storylines to talk about. The things involving Joey, Randy, Doug, and Smitty and Martin. I'll save the Martin stuff for last. So, yeah, we go over to the diner and Joey and Randy are talking. And simply put, Joey is putting his foot down because Randy is being very intrusive, saying that, he wants to know, like, how do you peg clients? And, essentially, Joey just breaks it down in terms of, how it's easy to spot a gambler and, get them in control, this, that, and the third, because it's an addiction, something I don't have, but I know how to work it to my advantage. So it's kind of cool when you think about it, because similar to Bill and Jacob, being able to read people and whatnot, with Jacob saying in the last episode, he knows how to read people, but he utilizes that for the sake of justice and, upholding the law. Bill does it for his own game. Joey does the same thing, being able to read people's, like, he could probably spot a gambling addict from a mile away. And he knows if a person gets buried in a hole deep enough, he can give them another shovel after the first one breaks so they can dig it even deeper. So he'll have that person in his debt. So essentially, Joey catches on to the fact that Randy is just being overprotective of his friend, and he doesn't want, Doug to, get caught in a hole and, turn out just in a bad situation. It's sad, though, because, yeah, Doug is getting screwed over, but Randy, he tried to warn him, because remember, Randy it's like, hey, Randy, why don't you talk to Joey for me? And he's like, no, just tell your wife, man, because look, Joey is like, if you value your kneecaps, like, don't get involved with Joey. But then, Doug got himself in this situation. So, Randy is just determined to find out. So, Joey, what's the deal? Like, Doug, why do you want, his quote unquote services so bad? Like, want to be connected to him. Joey makes it clear, like, look, here's the thing. What matters is what Doug can get from me. All right. That's the thing. And having him as a quote unquote asset is useful. So don't worry about me, harming your friend or killing him. He's only good to me. He's only worth anything to me so long as he's alive. So you better drop it. At this moment, stop worrying about your friend. So, and he's like, hey, lunch is on you. I'm like, oh, dang. So your job is to make sure Doug comes to the casino tonight, which through that text message, Doug shows up. And Joey greets him saying, hey, there's a bunch of high rollers today. And he's like, I don't know. So, I mean, come on, here, take some money on me. all right, okay, I guess I'll play. And then from there, he loses. And as he's about to leave, Joey's like, no, here you go. He's like, wait, are you sure? No, I don't want to do this. Like, come on, look, I'm sure you'll win, and then you'll pay off your debts in no time. So then he plays, and yikes. So over on the sidelines, Joey's talking to Randy and pretty much just warns him like, hey, you know what happens to those who warn Marks about my plans, right? So he pretty much just wants to ensure Randy doesn't run his mouth to Doug about his scheme to pretty much put him in a hole so deep that he's no longer able to dig himself out of it. So he's going to be indebted to Joey forever. But, bro, Doug should use better discernment. I mean, that's the main thing. It's like, you lost a lot of, well, like, we don't know. We know those are some high rolling chips. So for Doug to just lose and he's like, all right, I'll play again. So he just screwed himself over. I don't feel bad. It's like, come on, man. Like Randy said, look, Joey helped you out, so you ought to just quit. So what did he do in the last episode? He played anyway, but then he won. So it's like, why press your luck? But the guy playing Joey, yeah, you can tell he's a veteran soap actor. The dude just exudes tension whenever he's on screen. It's like he's the kind of guy who's level-headed, and he seems like, he's not much of a talker, but he seems cordial. But if you get on his nerves, he'll just shut you down in one sentence. It's like, okay, I won't say anything else. All right. So aside from that, we get the Martin and Smitty stuff. So Martin chews out Smitty when he comes back from the grocery store because he found out that Smitty has been making more phone calls about, being a reporter. So in the midst of their argument, you have the kids come in. Well, the teens come in. Samantha and Tyrell. And they all sit down because it's like, so what's the argument about this time? No, it's like, your father would like to go back to work. So what? What do you mean? Like, and then Martin pretty much tries to utilize statistics about, two parents who work household versus, a stay-at-home parent and the other one works. And he's essentially trying to utilize the kids. And I say kids because he's literally making it seem like Smitty is doing a disservice to their family by pursuing going back into reporting when their kids need them. And it's like, look, you mean the two teens, the almost full grown adults who barely pay attention to us at all? I mean, yeah, driving them to, this thing and that thing. But, Samantha's like, well, there is an account you all were putting money into to get me a car. And then Tyrell says like, hey, you don't have to come to my debates all the time, So thankfully they supported Smitty. And then Martin was like, oh, did you talk to them about this first? Nope, this is all them. So it's really crazy to me how these two well-raised young adults, they are handling this far more mature than Martin, because Martin tried to make Smitty look like the selfish one, putting his needs before the family, when in actuality, it's Martin who's the one that needs a reality check. And it's crazy to me. I mean, what do they say? From the mouth of a babe? It's just, wow. Like, what's his deal? Because I really do think that, going back to what I said several episodes ago, it almost feels like, getting married to a white man was some sort of statistic political play. Like maybe Martin felt being married to Smitty versus being married to another black man would be better, quote unquote, in terms of reputation or how it looks to the public. And I think that's really wild to like, well, I mean, then again, celebrities do it all the time. They get together for the sake of like, oh, this person is dating this co-star from a film or TV show, or hey, this musical artist, they're dating. They were seen out on a date because, oh, they look so good together, but it turns out they just had like, hey, they did a song together, something like that. So I would not be surprised if Martin, strategically went after not just a white man, but a white man he could like, dominate in terms of personality, like someone who would, a yes man, so to speak. So I was so glad that the kids stood up for their other dad, and Martin does agree to give him one assignment, see how it goes, and then, we'll figure it out from there. So later on that night, Smitty is asking Martin if he's working to avoid dreaming again, and then the episode ends with Martin having a nightmare on the couch, and it sounds like a bunch of metal pounding, like boom, boom, boom. So I don't know if it was some sort of like fight, because initially I remember that one episode early on where it sounded like, some sort of crash. I think I even said it was like a boat, but no, this was clearly like hard metal just pounding, like boom. Like we know Martin has a tendency to blow his top, so combine this with him screaming, and then it wakes up the whole house. Smitty tells the kids to go back upstairs, and Martin's like, no, I'm fine. I'm fine. It's like, I was just, locking the doors and whatnot and making sure my family's safe. And then Smitty goes, look, we're safe. It's okay. Do what you got to do. Just come upstairs. Don't keep me waiting too long. So based off of that, it almost seems like maybe something happened in the past involving like a robbery or some sort of like attack, and as a result Martin had to defend his family. I don't know, I'm just thinking. But remember, Smitty doesn't know what it's about, because he doesn't know what these nightmares are about, because one, anytime he asks about it, Martin is dismissive, and two, remember when he talked to Vernon about his fear of Martin's anger issues, Vernon brushed it off. But we know that Vernon and Anita know what the situation was that Bill covered up, and Bill is using as leverage to the Dupree family to blackmail them into doing what he wants whenever. So whatever happened with Martin was certainly a very traumatic event. So I don't know, like I said, if it involved him killing someone or what, but it must have been wild. So with that being said, this was a pretty solid episode. Let me double check my notes real quick, make sure I didn't forget anything. Diego, Samantha, Doug, Eva. Yep, that's pretty much it. So with that being said, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next video.